Welcome guys to John's Football Channel. This is your post review of Everton versus Chelsea. Everton obviously winning 3-0 against Chelsea. What a very shocking result. I'm sure none of us are doing well at this point. Very shocking defeat. We knew Liverpool lost, Man United drew. We just thought, okay, all we need to do is just come in here, do what we normally do, um, and get a bounce back and actually get a result, get a good result in terms of 3 points, and then we might be in the conversation again in terms of getting Champions League football for next season. But now after the game, what a complete shocker. We clearly nowhere near the where we need to be. At this stage, we definitely don't deserve Champions League football next season. So yeah, guys, let's get into this post review. Let's see and analyze exactly what went wrong and what needs to be fixed. Starting off, let's look at the lineups. What went? How did the game start? So obviously with Everton it was Pickford in goal, O'Brien, Koloskowski, Keane, Makolo Konoko, and in the defense, then Gary, Garner as the CDMs, Ndie, Drewsbury Hall, and McNeil as the front line, and then just behind them for Chelsea, we went with Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Fofana, Haito, Cucurella as the defense, Lavia, Caicedo in the midfield, and Neto up front, just behind João Pedro. So let's check how it actually went. Obviously, not much when I think from the first 20 minutes or so, we were actually very poor. We were playing like we were high school kids playing in a normal friendly. It was only until there was maybe I think the 30th minute or so where we actually started doing well. Actually started being the one who we were getting into the game, getting into a rhythm. Although we were getting into a rhythm, we weren't doing much with that ball. It was just back sideways, left to right. And then they end up getting cutting us through like they did against Newcastle. I don't know how we allowed that to happen. And for some reason, for the last, I think 3 or 4 games, maybe it's been more than that, but I think maybe it's been since then we've been losing. Because I think no one would have mentioned it if when we're winning. But I think for some reason, what we're supposed to be doing to the opposition, they are doing to us. Our midfield and our defense are so far apart. They were cutting us through so badly. And the new thing I remember is this is exactly how we were playing under Frank Lampard. And when we were getting those such huge bad results, I think that's exactly how we were. And I don't know how are we going back to that type of football? Where are we going wrong? Who's creating those gaps? Who's creating those pockets of Everton players to exploit us in those positions? I think it's a case of us over pressing in a sense. I think yes, we can have João Pedro, Palmer maybe, or even Nets on the wing pressing. But I think as our midfielders, our CDMs, maybe one, obviously we all know this in football, one sits. But I think maybe it's a case of us both attacking. We both want to get the ball. And especially, obviously, it gets even harder, especially when we go 1-0 down in 30 minutes. Then we actually need to go and push for the results or push for something. And then we obviously leave our backline even more exposed because we are going forward. It's not like we are winning 2-3-0. Then obviously there's no need for us to press. But I think it's right now, it's that way what we're getting wrong is the opportunity to not actually find the exact reasons where we're going wrong and how are we making these such. There was a chance where there was training, I think not training, but warm-ups with Gusto on the ball. And the whole team was keeping the ball. And then Gusto ends up making a silly pass and we ends up losing it in training, in the warm-up. And I think it just shows you certain players that we have, not to necessarily only focus on Gusto exactly, but it's just the way I saw it. Clearly, Gusto is not made of that material of saying, okay, how can I continue to ensure I don't lose the ball? There's certain players, some great players, never lose the ball. They very rarely lose the ball. If they lose the ball, most chances are they end up getting the foul for it or something, some way they end up getting the ball back. But I think for that example, I think with Gusto, that was just an example of where his mind is. They were doing well in the build-up. They were busy playing with the ball. And then Gusto said, okay, no, it's enough. Let's just lose it. And I think with that mentality, you cannot be playing at the highest level. And I think also Maresca's playing, when he made those subs, he ended up making subs in the second half, taking off Gusto and bringing on Garnacho. Yes, you're bringing off a defender for an attacker, but now where's the logic? Who ideally at that moment, who was going to be playing right back? And obviously, we end up going with Caicedo playing right back. But the question is, why did we need to go try to fix something and then break another thing, which does not make sense at all? So Garnacho also didn't do much. I think when there was an opportunity to take off someone, I think especially for Esteval, there was an opportunity in the 70th minute where we took off Neto for Esteval. I think I was saying to myself, no, screw it, don't bring on, take off Neto, take off Garnacho. Garnacho and it hasn't been good enough. For those 20 minutes, what had he done? Nothing. The only thing with Neto is he's very tough, he's very strong, but he lacks, I wouldn't say he lacks creativity to an extent, but his end result is not good. I think he tries to overdo it. He'll feint here, feint there, and then a lot of players in the box have already got into positions to be prepared for that incoming cross or shots or whatever. So I think that's where the problem is. And I think also, why did we take off Lavia? What was Lavia doing so wrong that we needed to bring on Santos? It's a like for like. What was really going to change? I think obviously with Lavia is a lot better on the ball compared to Santos in terms of distributions. So I think for that instance, we're even worse now, not having the availability of Lavia. I think Lavia is very good. I think we have seen him playing defensively and offensively. Maybe he, at certain areas, yes, he didn't do as well. But I think overall, he does beat Santos in terms of quality. Maybe he's not fully fit, so that is a possibility. Maybe it's a possibility, and then hence why he came off. But we can only hope that he gets more fit and continues his fitness and is able to play a full 90. I think all the game was saying on the commentators did mention he's only played 13 starts for Chelsea. Lavia's been here for some time and only 13. Just shows you where this place has been with all the injuries and everything. Then in the 62nd minute, Beto ends up scoring again. Yul ends up giving him the assist. Also another shocking defending from us. I don't know. Let me know down below what you guys think. How do you guys think? What's going wrong with us, basically? Is it just a coincidence that we're just somehow in bad form, or do you think after the 3-0 loss to PSG, the 5-2, do you think that's where the turning point was for the team? Say no, we're not good enough, not with the manager we have, not with the playing style that we want to play. So maybe are they down in tools? Have they given up? Have they lost faith? When Esteval came on, I found that he was very explosive, like we know he is. But as soon as he came on, he looked like he was the player. He's the only player who was actually trying. And I think it was just a shame that we had to take off Neto, who did a bit better than Garnacho, and we had to bring him off because it wouldn't make sense bringing on Garnacho or taking off Garnacho even though he just came on. But I think had Liam did that, it would have shown where the quality needs to be. And then in the 76th minute, DA ends up scoring the third. Absolute belter from him. It's just so funny how when we're in bad form, any shot just goes in. And we're just waiting for the roof of the net to shake, and we knew, okay, there's it, done. 3 points is in the bag, 3 goals. And I think from the first 10-20 minutes in the second half, we already knew, most Chelsea fans already knew we weren't scoring in this game. And I think it's one of the first times where I realized that we've gone into a couple of games where we don't look like scoring. No one would have picked that. No one would have thought that. And now it's actually surprising how in the last 3 games we haven't scored a single goal. So the question is, what has happened to our defense and what has happened to our attack? Known for our attacking attributes. We know we're not known for defending or anything, but we're more known for our attack of displays, and yet we are not showing anything. If we scored something in the last 3 games, we could say something, but now 3 games go by and we haven't scored anything. It just shows you where are we actually going as a football club. As obviously, it's a question of, will Bluco learn their lesson? Will they know, guys, it's time now that we need to stop this. We need to change our philosophy, or is it a question of no, let's just leave? I think obviously we do need to go in the conversation of saying no, just leave, because if you're not going to go in that mindset from the start of saying, okay, no, we definitely need to buy certain players, and we don't, then obviously if they're not believing in their own philosophy, what's the point of the owners actually being here? And obviously we know the age gap between, for example, with Everton and Chelsea right now in the game. I think Everton were around 30 years old, 29, and ours was 25. So it just shows you how young we are in terms of a team. I think it is a good point. Some people are saying that our players may look young, but we have a lot of experience. But I think even then, can you imagine them having that experience plus a bit more, 4 or 5 years of experience as well, being on their belts? So I think even though we have some form of experience, I think we could have a lot more. People mentioning about Enzo having a lot of experience because we played the World Cup. Just because you played the World Cup once or twice doesn't mean you all of a sudden elite, and especially if you win it, you become all of a sudden now you know everything. Now, yes, you have won it, you have gained some experience from it, but you still have a lot more still to gain. Look at Iniesta, Modric, Cruz. Can you ever say to them, no, you know enough when they were 25, 26? No, obviously look at them now. They're 30, 40 years old. Now you can say they know more than anyone. I know about how the ball needs to be played, and what needs to be done in a game. So I think saying that not many people can argue that point of saying that we do have enough experience. I don't think that's true. I think certain points we do, but we could do a lot better. Then in the 78th minute, we'll end up taking off João Pedro and bring on Delap. Yet again, what was the point? We should have actually played both of them. At this point, we're losing 3-0. Why are we going for changes? It's not going to make any difference. We need to throw a kitchen sink, some of a kitchen sink at least. And then we'll end up taking off Caicedo and bringing on Tosin. Yet again, what was the point of bringing on Tosin? What was he going to do? But yeah, guys, let me know below what you guys think. How did you guys exactly analyze this game? Where are those points that you see that we actually went wrong, completely wrong in terms of this game? Is there certain points where you remember that this was the turning point in the game? Was there a point where you guys saw this is the point where we are completely lost it? This is the point where we knew that we're not gonna get there in the end. So yeah, guys, let's take a look at the ball possession. Obviously, we had 64 ball possession. Expected goals, they had 1.18. We had 0.93. Total shots, we had 12. They had 10. Out of their 10 shots, they had 9 on target. Out of our 12, we had 4. Imagine, for every I think 4 or 5 shots, we had probably had 1 on target. How can we, as a Chelsea Football Club, one of the biggest teams in the world, go like this against Everton? Touches in the box, we all know in the beginning of the half, in the first half of the game, we obviously knew we were lacking in terms of touches inside the box. And now we all of a sudden at the end of the game we have 32 more than Everton, but yet we're the one who loses. Biggest chances, we had 2. Everton had 2, we had 2. Big chances missed, they had 1, we had 2. Accurate passes, obviously we had 89% good passes. Obviously, how easy it is to play at the back. We need to be playing in those pockets. That's where we need to be creative. We need to give some licenses in our team to say, no, I trust you. You go and do whatever you need to do. Make the mistake. We'll have players around them to collect the errors and collect the ball position again. Because if we're just going to be playing it and say, oh no, I'm scared to play that ball, we'll never be able to cut through a defense and actually score some goals. And then obviously we had 9 corners, did nothing with them. They had 3. So for every 1 corner for every one we had, they had or every 3 we had, they had 1. So we were more or less, if we look at the stats, we weren't very, in terms of only, I can see expected the shots, yes, we were dominated. And you could say, look, yeah, I think I suppose just the shots that we were dominated by. And there was obviously that stat that's going around that Chelsea are yet to be outrunning every team in the Premier League. We haven't done so, and that is a question why. If our players are so tired, are we that tired that we're not even able to outrun one or two teams? Are we that fatigued in the league right now because of the Club World Cup? I don't really think so. I think we have made enough subs. You can't look at a player that we have played with currently and said, no, he has played every game until the Club World Cup. No, we have had breaks, we have had time to rest. We can't make it an excuse forever. At some point, it needs to be a reality that we're not good enough and we're not working hard enough in order to deserve that win. So obviously now Beto ends up getting the man of the match. If we look at the top 6 rated players, obviously Beto's there. Gay is 86 rated, and Pickford for them. We have our top 3, Enzo, Lavia, and Palmer. Palmer did well in terms of running with the ball, but apart from that, as soon as he got to the third half of the game, in terms of the box, we ended up running out of ideas. We didn't know who to pass to, what to do with it, and I think that was a problem. Obviously, there were certain areas. If we had to look back at the game, Everton had, I think, 1 or 2 players for every man we had in the box. So in that instance, the question is why? Why weren't we able to find areas to make the pitch wide and add more players and more bodies into the box? Yet again, we go over the question as we know Liam Rosenior is not the most experienced player or manager to have in terms of getting us from bad form, even to get us to good form as well. And I think it just shows you that it would be a question of, can he get us out of this bad form? Will he be able to have the experience to get the job done? Probably, I don't think so. Only the great players know, the managers know how to change it, how to know, okay, we're in bad form right now, let's just get a draw, let's just get that out. Even though we play poorly, let's just grind it out, and then we can start building some form from there. I think that's what good managers would do. Now the question is, when do we do it? And we know we're playing Man United and Man City next in the Premier League. So it is a question of what's gonna happen. Will we be able to get results from that game? I don't think so. Not with us playing like this. And it's a very shame that we weren't able to actually get the jugular, knowing that Liverpool and Man United drop points in the Premier League this game week. So yeah, guys, currently we sit still 6th with 48 points. Liverpool on 49, Arsenal Villa on 51, Man United on 55. Everton are obviously 2 points ahead of us now. Brentford is in the mix between Everton and Chelsea. Fulham on 44. So yeah, in the next couple of games, we might see us very further down in the league. Hopefully that's not the case, but if we're going to be realistic and be honest with ourselves, that's more most likely we're going to be. And it's going to be a question of what are the club is going to do with our Champions League football next season. It is a question. Personally, I think also, yes, financially it's going to be better for us to be playing in a Champions League where we can get the money, but what's the point of playing in a competition that we're not going to win? So I prefer us to play in a competition that we can win, even though it's the farmers' competition. Something better than nothing, I suppose. So yeah, guys, let me know guys down below. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for my post review. Everton 3, Chelsea 0. Peace.